Alright, this is kind of weird. For someone who likes to learn, someone who loves to observe, I love to learn and observe. Even though having a lot of information and knowledge about things doesn't particularly make you any wealthier, it does make you a little bit happier. That's not the only thing that makes you happy. But because of this coronavirus, because of this pandemic, we're indoors more. I could always remember my life before the pandemic. Going to work, right after work, trying to make more money so I could survive. Purchasing stupid things that I don't need. And going back to work every week. And it was a repetitive, vicious cycle. Going to bars, going with friends, going to parties. A lot of waste of money. We had a lot of money. We have plenty of work. We work hard, play hard, all kinds of shit. The life was very fast. Coronavirus kind of slowed it down. It kind of like pushed you down to stop. I remember I would only go home to sleep. Now, when you have like a 3 bedroom house and you only use your house to sleep, that is a gigantic waste of a house. That's why I was always thinking about living in like a van or something like that, but I couldn't get rid of the comfort of being in a house. Being inside a home, you have more comforts and freedoms than you do inside a van. You're more vulnerable in a van than you are in a house. So, like you won't have electricity, you won't have running water, you won't have all these comforts that you can't necessarily get with a van. So the van life was out. I was hoping that they had like these little capsule hotels where you could just go there to sleep and shower and like do the necessities all day, and the cost of living would be a lot cheaper, so you would have more time to go to bars, go to restaurants. Because in LA County, before the coronavirus, what we used to do is we used to work hard, and then we would enjoy our lives in the streets. So we would hardly ever, or make me personally, I would hardly spend any time at home. So now with the corona and social distancing and things getting slower and the bars are closed, kind of stuck in the house. Now I learned to appreciate this house as like a little mini, well, it's like an amazing little house in LA. And I realized, you know what? I've had this house for so long. I've never really appreciated it. I never appreciated the yards, the everything, the nooks and crannies, the landscape, the atmosphere, the trees. The trees grew wild in my backyard. I have a lot of birch trees that have been they basically, I got to cut down a lot of trees. In fact, long story short, or just to hit a point, you really do have to appreciate what you have. Now, let's say you have an ugly girlfriend or an ugly boyfriend, right? And you're like, oh, I can do better than this person. You shouldn't think like that anymore, because that's a wasteful way of thinking. You should say, you know what, this is my boyfriend or my girlfriend. Yeah, they're not the best, but it's my boyfriend or my girlfriend. and I can mold them however I want to. And sometimes you could. Sometimes you can mold a person. Like you could dress them up. You could kind of customize them a little bit. I know I've been customized in relationships before too. So same thing with a home. I've learned to get into decor and start to decorate my home. Now, I spend most of my life trying to fill my home with treasures, right? But the deal was get the treasures in perfect condition, buy boxes, brand new boxes, put everything in the boxes, and store them. So my decor looks like a bunch of boxes in a house. No furniture, no nothing. Because furniture is a very low value. So I only wanted to grab items that had a lot of value and with the smallest thing, like a diamond. A diamond has is very small, doesn't take up space, and it's worth a lot. Now I didn't collect diamonds because it was hard to find them that were not overpriced. But stuff you find like at estate sales, garage sales. This is one of the great things about living in LA. We have lots of estate sales and lots of yard sales and lots of swap meets, lots of thrift stores, lots of people throwing away trash. But there's a lot of wealth in LA County and in Pasadena and even like Beverly Hills and Alhambra and just a lot of cities where there's a lot of wealth. People die, old people die, and they leave their treasures in their home. Their children are either lawyers, doctors, or they just don't care about their parents' treasures or furniture or whatever. So they just estate auction everything or estate sale everything. And the people that run those estate sales are usually very older women, usually white women. From what I've seen, mostly white women. So they're pretty old. So when they sell things, they sell them at $1, a quarter, 50 cents, or a box for like $2 or $3. The prices are really never that great. And I've been to Pasadena estate sales and to mansions, some pretty beautiful mansions in Pasadena where the houses are actually designer houses that were designed by architects, and some are historic, and there's just a lot of history in LA County as far as like homes and libraries and buildings. There's just so much. There's oh, it's the best place to live, LA County. You don't necessarily have to live in the city of LA because the city of LA is pretty trashy, and there's a lot of people there. It's mainly residential, but on surrounding it, there's a west side of LA County, there's a north side of LA County, which far north is not somewhere you want to go, like Lancaster. That's more like where meth head people are, drug addicts, a lot of like prostitution and stuff like that. East side of LA County is where I'm at, and probably probably not the greatest. Let me see. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good location. I mean, if I was rich, I would probably want to live towards like Pasadena, but Pasadena has bad freeways. There's a lot of pros and cons over there.